Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. How are you? I'm Kalua and I am imperfectly amazing. Um, my goodness, Monday, October 25th. It is the end of October already. What do you think about that? so, last week, I actually started to dive into the topic that I'm going to talk about today. Not in the live, but I actually went on Marie Mason's radio show. So I posted that in my social media. I shared the link and everything. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go do so and check out the rest of her uh, broadcasts because just her and Pliny are so much fun. And I had such a great time doing that show with them. And it just really kind of took on this life of its own about women's empowerment and just really stepping into your power. And one of the things that sort of came out was just a little snippet of my story about being heard. And this is kind of a big one for me. I was quite the precocious little child and spoke my mind, and you know as most children don't realize, oftentimes the things that kids just say are not always socially what people want to hear, or so instead of a redirect, I was just often told to be quiet, to shush. Like, do you ever think before you speak? Please don't say that. For the love of God, please don't sing. Like, all of these messages, talks too much in class. And to the point where actually I was sent to the principal's office for talking in class in first grade. So, and my teacher called every single day at dinner time to complain about me. So, and then, sent to my room and the punishment. And, so what was the message I received under the age of 7 was that my voice was not desirable. Nobody wanted to hear what I wanted to say. At all costs, please do not share your thoughts, right? Like, so many repeating messages, and for a child in that egocentric age and not knowing anything else in the world, that was really the message that came across. And I even noticed that when my daughter was born, I kind of started to raise her in that way, like immediately, like, oh, you just got to keep quiet and don't, you know. Fortunately, I've learned the error of my ways and have been undoing that kind of thing. But it was a lot of what I really noticed was how it started to show up physically for me. So that if you've ever, I mean, if you have kids, I'm sure you know what it's like to feel unheard, right? They're really good at that. But that feeling came up for me a lot. But physically, it started to show up like every time I would get sick, the illness would go straight for the throat. Like, it would be this horrible sore throat or laryngitis, or actually, is it once or twice I ended up in the hospital because my throat was so swollen. And the one time I remember, it was like the one tonsil and the uvula were swollen so badly that I had went to the doctor and he sent me straight to the hospital because he was afraid my airway was going to be cut off. Luckily, the other tonsil didn't end up swelling up, so it was okay. But so there was all these repeated messages, like here I was living in Florida and wearing scarves in the summer to keep my throat warm because I would have laryngitis. Like, all the time it was showing up. And, as I started to get into all the energetic stuff, I realized that, whoa, wait a second. This is all that past healing stuff. This is all those messages that I received in childhood about, please be quiet, no talking, stop. We don't want to hear what you have to say kind of messages. And they were affecting me now physically in my adult life. Yeah, Dot, right? Isn't that amazing? And you know what? The other one, so like more maybe mentally or emotionally, one of the things that really started to come up a lot were dreams. Dreams where something terrible was happening and I would scream for help, but nobody could hear me. Like nothing would come out. It was just like, and I would be working so hard on getting that scream out and nothing. So, these signs were really showing up. And for me, it was very clear that it was time to heal this stuff, especially because, sore throats are miserable. Like who wants it? So the universe kind of gave me like real high motivation. And so that was a lot of what I had to do was, and again, I always go back to that worthiness piece because what happened, I didn't feel worthy of sharing my voice after being told that nobody wanted to hear it. I felt like, well, it wasn't good enough or it wasn't the stuff that people wanted to hear, and so there I was sort of hiding and not sharing my authentic voice. And even when I did speak up about stuff, it would be I don't know, like almost like behind a veil. You know what I mean? Like I had to make sure that everything was perfect. And you know I mean, the background was okay, or like all of the conditions had to be just right. And then it was like I'd say a little thing like run back. you know of course pleasantries and things like that were fine, but when I was speaking my authentic voice, something that might not resonate with everybody or that might not be pleasing to everyone, then I got very nervous and anxious, and that really led to a lot of hiding. And if you've heard the story that I shared this past summer, I was getting a lot of signals that it was time to be seen more. It was time to really step out, and I had noticed that all of the things that I was doing and that were actually working really well for me, they were successful, but I was hiding behind all of them. And I kept getting these signals that the time to hide is over. It's time for you to get out, not only for yourself, but for others as well. Other people need to hear these messages because, I'm not the only one who has received messages that has affected my worthiness. And I think a big part of healing the collective is just all of us being willing to be a little bit vulnerable and to share our story. And, some people might be like, whatever, that's crap. That's not who I was meant to reach out to. Okay. So, and that's fine. But I think that oftentimes we feel like we're in it all by ourselves. It's just you. You feel very lonely. Nobody else could possibly know this type of stuff. So when somebody else speaks up, it's almost like it gives you voice. And then you can step up and share yours. And there's how the collective starts to build. So, Dot saying everyone else's voice was more important, or you waited to make sure others said similar things first. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Dad, I just got chills on that one. Yes, that's so true. Yeah, you sort of waited for that little kernel of like that little nugget that maybe somebody was sort of thinking along the same lines as you, and you're like, yes, I second, and then you could kind of get that permission. And I guess that's where I feel like as we step up and we share our voice, we're giving that permission to each other to do the same. So, yeah, I hope that this resonated for you. I hope that this is helpful for you. A big part of sharing your voice is being able to, and this is what I'm still working on, being able to step away from the feedback, because it's not all going to be good. And honestly, sometimes, like I saw something where it was like, when the haters start speaking up, that's actually a good sign. It means you're getting out there. And I tell you, I got on here a few weeks ago and talked about how I was, walking through the woods, and my intuition really guided me through a situation that in I think could have been dangerous. It could have been a bad situation. I'm not an easily jarred person. And when the hairs on the back of my neck stick up, there's usually something to be worried about. So, but of course, I don't want to create a witch hunt. And, if somebody's in a mental health crisis, that's not what they need. But I did want to alert others to be aware, just to have some extra awareness as they walked through the woods in that area. So I posted on the Nextdoor app, and my joke is that anything can go negative on the Nextdoor app if you've ever been on there. It's like, you get both Santa Claus is coming to town, and somebody would be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you support obesity and diabetes. I'm triggered," And um, so I knew kind of as I posted it that, oh, all right, oh, what am I gonna have to? What kind of latching am I gonna have to take? And for me, it was like more important that that message get out there, that just please, you know how it is when you're kind of in a familiar environment, you get comfortable and maybe you let your guard down a little bit. And so I just wanted people to know, like, don't let your guard down. Just, keep your awareness up. Don't be fearful. Don't be scared, but just be aware. Just be aware of your surroundings, please. And oh my gosh, like, they started pouring in those comments, and I felt very heard because, just things like, "Oh, men, maybe it's time we stop pampering our women," and just really misogynistic, belittling, demeaning comments. And I started to feel like really anxious and before I even had a chance to get on there and maybe explain things a little better or reply, um, there was like this surge of others who came up and said, this is unnecessary. Clearly, if somebody is following, and I said nothing about following my intuition or anything, but I guess it was felt. And people like really came up and, when a woman follows her intuition, it's the best thing she can do. And, all of these surges of positive comments started to come in. And yes, there were still the haters and that happened, but so many thank yous, so many, "I'm so glad you let me know about this," so many, "I'll be more aware." One even said, "You might have saved a life," so sometimes we just have to say it. We just have to say it and be okay with the crap storm that's going to come, because ultimately it was for a greater good. Who cares that somebody got triggered if somebody else didn't get hurt? That's really more important, isn't it? Because honestly, somebody being triggered is not about you, it's about them. And so that's where that, you know, that dang book, The Four Agreements, right? We know that one. It's so amazing. It's so powerful. But I know the most challenging one for me is don't take it personally. And so we've got to go back to that agreement. Don't take it personally. So, yeah, I kind of weaved around on this one. I hope you were able to follow. I hope that this was helpful for you. But ultimately, my message to you is please share your authentic voice, because quite honestly, we're all divinely led. So if it's coming through you, there's probably a reason for it. And, I've gotten more and more signals like when I didn't, like, oh man, I should have. So now I'm trusting those urges a little bit more. I'm speaking up more. And, sometimes I get blown up, but now I'm kind of to this place like, well, whatever, that's on you because you were warned, and just, allowing myself to have faith in me and have faith in the nudges that I get to share my voice. So, yes, be out there, share it however, start how you feel comfortable, and you just keep going more and more and more. I'm not saying, hurt yourself with discomfort, but just what feels maybe a little bit scary today. It could be a post. Stay in your flow, stay open. Yes, Dot. Yeah, I love it. So maybe you share a post, maybe you share a little bit of your story, maybe you be a little vulnerable, just maybe you're talking to somebody and something you wouldn't normally say comes to you and you feel this urge to tell them, so just push yourself just a little bit. And again, everything is a practice, it's all a practice. So each time you do that, you get a little bit more confident, you get a little more comfortable, and just know You are so worthy of sharing your voice. You're so important. What you have to say is so important. I don't care if you were told you talk too much in class. We want to hear you now. Okay. This might be why I homeschooled my kids, right? But so, yes, and of course, if you want to join the community, Crave is a great place to join us. We get together every month, so you have access to all our videos. But then we get together every month, and we have, a topic that we go into a little bit more, just based on the energy, the stuff that's going on seasonally. Last month was goals and just how I had been talking about that it being a much better time for planting those seeds, right? So I had been talking about that on the lives. Well, in our Crave meeting, we kind of dug into that a little bit more, and we dug into just that, how to do that for yourself, and really getting to those, more authentic goals for you. So, yeah, it's just a really great place to come and be part of the tribe. And, again, that not feeling alone, because it's just so easy for all the naysayers out there to kind of get you down. This is where we get together and we build back up. So it's really an amazing community, and it's very affordable. So, go ahead and reach out, message me if you're interested in getting in that. And otherwise, oh, announcement, next week I will not be here live. Okay, I am taking a little trip, so I will not be live next Monday or Wednesday, but I will be here this Wednesday for Clarity with Kalua. So I will see you then. Have an amazing week. And you know what? Put in your comments maybe what you want to share today. Use your voice right there in the comments. I would love to hear it. And I'll see you soon. Sending you so much love. Bye.